Welcome to another episode of Professional Connection, where we connect you with other professionals.
Hey everybody, welcome to Professional Connection. I am Zach Beatty, your host. I'm here with my good friend Omid Rejali with Rejali Law Firm. How you doing, my man?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. It's a crazy world out there, huh?
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely living in some historical times for sure, and we're just trying our best with what we got. So
100%. That's all we can do, right?
Yep, that's it.
So you come to us, you're a personal injury attorney, but the caveat here, you got to focus on trial, which a lot of people don't, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I always wanted to be a trial lawyer, essentially, and I'm not 100% there yet. I'm just going step by step, but my practice primarily focuses on trials. So I usually would kind of come into the case sort of towards the last end of it. If the insurance company is not being fair, they're not paying full value, and something like that's going on. So they need somebody to actually try the case, and that's when I usually get involved.
Okay, and a lot of attorneys not always go to trial, right? That's a misconception that a lot of people have.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I think 97%, or they say 97% of cases settle. And not every case needs to go to trial, but it's just all case by case. It depends on the facts. I mean, every case is different, and we have to look at it. But that being said, my experience is that if there's no issue on liability, which means that the person who hit the client is at fault 100%, then generally speaking, and again, I don't want to say this with a guarantee or anything like that because I'm not allowed to do that. Generally speaking, there's a better outcome at trial, and I think the reason for that is because the insurance companies are in a business, and they're not in a business of valuing human beings' lives, right? They're in the business of making money for their stakeholders or whatever the case may be, and the valuation that they're going to do then versus a valuation that 12 human beings in the box are going to do from the community, most of the times is a little different. So that's why I like to represent people, and I actually enjoy it.
Yeah. And so, personal injury, what a lot of people don't know maybe is personal injuries, mainly car accidents, right? But do you do some dog bites, some slip and falls, things like that as well? Or is it primarily car accidents for you?
I primarily do car wrecks for now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, it all depends, right? It's an injury is an injury, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter how it happened. If someone's responsible for it and is not taking responsibility for it, then that's when we jump in. So it doesn't matter how the injury came about necessarily. But I will say, the cases have to be righteous, right? And there's plenty of them out there. And, unfortunately, the insurance companies make it seem as though, the person's not hurt or something like that. And some people start believing that. And So we got to try our cases. Let's just leave it at that. But as far as type of injuries, stuff like that, how it went about, how it came happening, it doesn't necessarily matter. An injured person is an injured person, and they have rights just like any other person does. So
Yeah.
we do more car wrecks because that's just, there's more of them happening, let's say.
Of
But
course.
it doesn't really matter.
Yep. And right now, obviously, there's not as many cars on the road, but the ones that are, they're driving pretty crazy out there. And so now, when things start to open up again or things like that, and more cars are on the road, it's going to be chaos for a lot of people, yourself included, right? You're going to be getting a lot of phone calls moving forward here.
Yeah. And, I don't know how it's going to be with the courts closed right now, and as far as like jury trials and things like that are concerned, they're all like going to push back. But there's still cases, there's still injured people waiting. I mean, they've been waited, some of them, for a long period of time to have their day in court, and unfortunately, something like this happens. But then again, I'm a strong believer that everything happens for a reason, and I would strongly recommend that if you have a claim, to make sure that you do not settle if you don't think that that's the value of your claim. Things will ultimately go back to normal. I mean, it may take some time, but you've probably waited already 2 years at least. So whether it's another year or so, you might want to wait it out. But it all depends on the case and the facts. So I don't want to generalize. I want to make sure that every case is different.
100%. And I think a lot of people in general sometimes are afraid of the word attorney, right? Or talking to an attorney or a lawyer. But in the case of car accidents specifically, because I see a lot in my practice even, is the reason we get them in a car accident is because how many times, like you mentioned before, the insurance companies come around and say, oh, you're not hurt. That's not bad. Car damage is only this much. We'll give you this much XYZ. But the long-lasting life-term effects that caused is detrimental in a big way. But we're made to believe that, well, this is all it's worth. In reality, their job is to put money in their pockets from the premiums.
Right. Yeah.
And so what you guys are doing in the personal injury realm as far as attorneys is sticking up for that person to make sure that they are not just covered health-wise, medically, property-wise, car, whatever else, but financially, because loss of work and all these other things, loss of use of car, all these things can pile up on people, and it's a dangerous situation.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a really good point. These things, depending on the injury again, but they have they could have a devastating effect. And the one thing that I think in the personal injury realm we don't pay too much attention to, and it's unfortunately become norm, is that this is how we look at it, right? We go, all right, well, you got like $5,000 in medical bills, and the car wreck looks like this, and it's not that much property damage, so whatever, we'll get you $10,000, get on your way. Well, we have to make sure that we have to start believing our clients, right? I think that unfortunately, from what I've seen, a lot of times, we don't, we're not believing the client. The client's coming in, like, I'm still hurt, but sorry, I don't see anything in the MRI. The doctor said X. When it comes to me, I don't care. If the person's saying they're hurt, they're hurt. There's no reason. I mean, it's, granted, there's some people, don't get me wrong, want to do that, but generally speaking, people don't like to whine and do stuff like that, right? So it's our job to make sure that, to get them to the best care, first of all, to make sure that they're fully recovered. The other thing I was going to add to that is, look, when you go, let's say, when we go to a hospital and, one of our family members is in a hospital or something like that, we don't say, hey, how are you? How much are your medical bills, man? Do you ever say that? No, you say, hey, how are you? Are you doing okay? Is everything all right with you? Like, that's the question you ask. And that's the thing that we forget, though, when it comes to these things. The first thing we ask, you go to the guy, how much is medical bills? What? So we're like basically, we're assessing a human being based on his medical bills and like whatever. I think it's crazy. I think it's absolutely doesn't make any sense. Instead of sitting down and asking them questions like, okay, well, tell me, like, how's your life changed? What can you not do anymore, right? And you'll be surprised. It's such small little things. They're tiny little things, that they could have done that they can't do right now. And sometimes it might not be that they can't do it. It's just the experience that they have right now is not the same experience that they used to have before, right? So it's because of, like, let's say a neck, like, we deal with a lot of neck issues. Because of the neck problem that they have, whatever it may be, they can't now pick up their 2-year-old child. I mean, what's the value of that? How are you going to put a value to that? You only have a child once. They're only going to be 2 years old once to 3 years old one time. And now because of the neck, through no fault of your own that this other person calls, you missed playing with your child for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is. And we're sitting here saying, okay, well, you got like $5,000 in bills, so we'll settle it for $10,000. It's wrong. So, I think that the non-economic damages, and that's basically what I'm getting at, or what they call pain and suffering damages, is something that we need to focus on much more than we are, and that's what I mainly do. I generally don't like focusing too much on medical bills, because it's like, you hit me, of course you're going to pay for my medical bills.
Right.
There's no question. There's a no-brainer. And then but that's what we're dealing with.
And that's awesome, because we look at things like in my line of work, concussions, maybe, right? You can't see a concussion, but there's a damage done. Just like there's property damage, you can see that. You can see a medical bill. You can see all those things, but you can't see a pain and suffering necessarily. It's not a tangible, visible thing.
Absolutely. And even that's a perfect example. Even on the more of what we have going back to the neck issue, we had a case where couldn't see anything, nothing in the MRI. There's just absolutely nothing. But actually, what the chiropractor was able to show, and he testified in the case, was, look, she actually has what he termed adjustment of motion segment integrity. In other words, what had happened, from my understanding at least, was that her vertebra had shifted. And I mean, you could see it a little bit in the x-ray, but you couldn't see anything in the MRI. Like, in other words, her discs and stuff were fine, but even that little shift was causing her extreme pain, right? And it's just something that, or even, let's say the loss of the curvature, right? I mean, we see those cases all the time, and people think, that's $10,000, big deal, dude. No, the curvature's like that for a reason. I mean, and now it's like straight. So the whole foundation of that neck is gone. I mean, you know better than I do that under the AMA guidelines, it's an impairment. It's like almost a 20% impairment, the 5th edition or whatever it is. And we just need to, we have to look at these cases. And so going on that, we don't take that many cases. I take very few cases, which allows me to really get into the medicine, understand all these things, because, as a trial lawyer, we're just teachers. And if I don't understand something, how am I going to be able to teach it to 12 people? So I need to know inside and out.
Yep. And you're right. Trial attorney is teaching, right? Because a lot of the people that are in the juror, they're not familiar with these things, not these terms. And so you have to educate what's right and wrong sometimes, because the insurance companies, they're to suppress the issue.
Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, their job is to, distract, mislead, And our job is just to tell them how it is, and show them the truth of things, and they take stuff out of context, and we have to bring it back in, put and explain it within the context. And they'll pick and choose, 5 documents out of the whole stash of like 1,000 and say, look, she's okay over here, and we have to put it back again. So, it's the way it is. But that's why I enjoy being a trial lawyer, is because it's bottom of it is it's just getting to the truth, right?
Yeah.
And the insurance companies just don't want to get to the truth. That's
Yep.
the way I see it.
Agreed. And so we were kind of talking about that kind of like that pushback on attorneys sometimes, right? And how it's beneficial to get one in certain periods of time. But the other thing people always say, I can't afford, right? But
Right.
there's something called contingency.
Yes.
Can you explain that maybe a little bit for everybody?
Yeah, sure. So, contingency, essentially what it means is, there's no cost to you. There's no fee to you. You don't have to pay anything up front, and the attorney will get paid after there's a settlement. After a settlement's been reached, it's at that juncture where the attorney's going to get paid. And if for whatever reason the case goes south and the attorney doesn't get paid, and then you don't owe the attorney anything. So it's sort of like a win-win. And in a lot of these cases, there's a lot of costs associated with it too, especially if it gets to the part where it's going to trial, where again, you're not putting any of that money out of your pocket up front, at least. I will have to say though, if there is a settlement, then those costs will get deducted from the ultimate settlement, whatever
Exactly.
that had been, advanced, so to speak. But there's basically, that's just, and I like that model because it's kind of like, if I don't work hard enough and don't collect, then you don't owe me anything. I work hard enough and I do, then I get a percentage of what I work for. So
Exactly. It's almost like performance-based in a way.
right, yeah.
You don't perform, you don't do anything. You perform, everybody wins.
Yeah, exactly. And then sometimes, sometimes it happens. We put in all of our time and it just doesn't work.
Yep.
So this is the thing of the trial lawyer. If you're a trial lawyer and you haven't lost a case, then I don't know. I have. So.
Hey, that happens, right? There's good days, there's bad days, there's good cases, there's bad cases. It's life.
Yeah.
So awesome, man. What else can you tell us, or what else do you really want to touch base with us on? If there's nothing, I got one question for you, but I'm going to let you speak first.
I don't really. What I would say is, just kind of sort of how I started maybe with this, what made me kind of get into the work that I do, and maybe a little bit of my background is, I was born here, but I was raised in Iran. And so, I come from a country, I lived there for about 10 years, from 7 to 17, where, it's chaos. It's none of this that we have here. And the justice system that we have here is incredible. It is, where else can can an individual stand in front of a corporation and get justice, right? To a big corporation and get justice? Nowhere. So, I always enjoyed that and chose to get into this business for that reason, and I love it. I really, really enjoy being able to represent people, get into the truth, and it's a process that's difficult, that has a lot of ups and downs, and there's like, I think, a saying that says the person who speaks the truth is the most hated person, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know who says it, but when you get there, the feeling is, it's very rewarding, and it's amazing to be able to represent these people. I mean, you know, without them, we're nothing. So it's actually, I give all the credit to them, to the system, and we're just here to sort of as a conduit of the truth, and just providing what we can. So it's good.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Thank you for sharing that, because I think that's really impactful, because it's not just it's a place of giving and helping and wanting to help. The man versus, almost like a David to Goliath, right? We're going against major corporations.
Yep, absolutely. That's what it is. I mean, actually, I have a David and Goliath. I have a David in my office. So.
Oh, nice.
That's on my desk. So.
Oh, that's awesome. And, the reason for this podcast is professional connections in the name. We want to connect you with other professionals that, a stronger front is a united front, and so forth. And who is it that we can connect you with that not just going to make maybe business stronger, but maybe friendships or things like that? Because the connection, we never know where it's going to go.
I think, I'm open to anybody, because we never know, like you mentioned, just how I'm like, sitting here talking to you, or standing here talking to you right now. We just never know where it's going to lead, and who we're going to need at what point. I think all of us as human beings, placed on this earth, we're all connected to each other, and we just never know when we're going to need each other in a situation. So, I'm open to meeting just about anybody, really. Because like I said, we all need each other, and that's all we have. So, and like, that would be my answer, really. I don't think there's anybody in specific that I can think of that could help. It's just, if I can help you, I'm more than willing to help. And so I don't know how to answer that question. I guess it's just, it could be anybody.
No, I agree with you. And that's what we're going to do. We're just going to put your information out there. This video's out there because it's educational. You threw out some incredible gold nuggets for people. Because again, there's people that push away from certain aspects, and that's human nature. That's the way it is. And there's good and bad in every profession. And some people have gotten that information, just like in mine. There's good and bad chiropractors, and it's the way of life.
Right.
But it doesn't mean you shouldn't go searching for that good one and protect yourself.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's just the way I see it is. I see it as a calling, right? It's a calling for me to be able to be in this position, right? I mean, it's an absolute privilege to be able to represent these people, and that's the way I see it. That's why I don't represent too many people. I don't really advertise too much, but if I see somebody and I really feel that their rights are being you better believe we're going to go we're going to go all the way. So,
right.
Because like I said, because I see it as a calling. I really think that I've been blessed and placed on this earth to be able to represent people in court. I mean, if you're going to pay them, fine. If you're not going to pay them, I'd love to see you in court. No problem.
Yep.
So.
Awesome, man. Hey, I just wanted to say, first, thanks for joining us, but taking time out of your day to join us, because I know you're a busy man, and I just really appreciate you taking a moment to help us out and get us going here.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. If I can help any way I can, I'm here.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much, and we look forward to connecting with you again. All right.
And one more thing, and thanks for starting this, man. This is actually something that's, I'm sure is going to be really helpful. It's going to get out to a lot of people, and it's going to help, like you mentioned. As far as connections are concerned and stuff like that, this is amazing. I mean, I haven't seen anybody starting something like this yet, it's a great idea. Thanks a lot.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you for saying that, because it means a lot to me. It's a passion of mine of helping people, and if helping people means connecting people, that's just another avenue that I can do it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.